Whoa. Look at the shiny screen. You think these buttons make the missile go boom?
Hi guys, and welcome back to Switch Up. Thanks so much to Chicken Perm for helping out with this review of Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden, and the developer for the review copy. What happens when you throw Pigma Dengar from Star Fox and Daffy Duck from Looney Tunes together into a post-apocalyptic Mario and Rabbids style tactical game? Well, you get Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden, of course. Alright, it's not Pigma or Daffy per se, but maybe distant relatives. Is the game worthy of those great names? Let's find out. It's the end of the world as we know it. What happened to it? Well, everything. Pandemics, climate change and nuclear war are all to thank for the wasteland that we now see. The Ark is the safe haven for the good guys, which are mainly mutants run by the Elder.
5, 4,
Gearhead is the classification for the fighters and scavengers that keep the Ark safe. The lead Gearhead engineer, Hammond, has disappeared. It's up to Borman, a bipedal boar with an in-your-face type of attack style, and Dux, a sarcastic, stealthy, long-shot duck, for without Hammond and his machines, the Ark cannot be sustained for very long, and the last secure location for mutanity would be decimated. In terms of gameplay, Chicken Perm usually favours a charge the front lines brute strength style in any game, but myself, I prefer the stealth focus. Exploration, stealth and strategy are the essential trifecta for success with Mutant Year Zero. Honestly, all three are equally crucial, and I'm going to explain why. In terms of exploration, it's important to head off the beaten path in every single area in the zone. There are scraps and weapon parts to be found all over the ground, and with those you can purchase weapons, armor, upgrade your weapons, or most importantly the precious medkits. Some areas are not required to go to advance the story, but if you take the time to explore them, not only do they provide more supplies, but will also benefit you by offering a few more battles to help level you up to keep pace with the enemies later in the game. In my opinion, the characters walk a little bit too slow, even when out of crouched or stealth position, which is a slight irritation. In terms of the stealth then, you really have to stay stealthy, my friends. Seriously, sneaking around is key in and out of battle. I can't stress enough that before starting a fight, you need to scout the entire area and the enemy's patrol routes. As long as you stay out of the field of vision, you remain undetected. Once you've done that, you then thin out the herd by taking out the most isolated enemies one by one. Otherwise, just going all gung-ho recklessly into battle will result in repetitive failure, as I found out. The final element there is strategy. Now, like any good turn-based game, having a good strategy is paramount. But different from one to the other is how unforgiving this game is. Mutant Year Zero is quite merciless, because one poor decision or missed minor detail on the battlefield and it'll be lights out for you and your mutants. There is a serious need to be able to think 1 or 2 turns ahead while still being able to alter your plans on a dime depending on enemies' movement and RNG. The core experience will be very familiar to those who are used to games like XCOM, but having that stealth element outside of the combat adds something unique to this one. Capitalizing on these 3 functions will greatly improve your chances on saving the Ark and rescuing Hammond. Honestly, I found sometimes the game seemed to be more in favour of the enemy, as back to forth shots of 75% chance would miss, and enemy movement and behaviour was a touch more unpredictable. Some battles can take over 30 minutes, so it can be quite disheartening to lose a long, hard fought one and difficult to motivate yourself to do that all again. While playing docked, the game got a software error 3 separate times in story related to battles that closed the game and was incredibly frustrating, but we'll talk more about that in the performance section. Borman ducks and other mutants that join your party can all be mutated even further after leveling up from battles won. These mutations can add more hit points, improve attack stats, or provide special moves. For example, Borman can learn a charge attack that allows him to run through obstacles and stun the enemy for a turn, which is really huge for when you want to pick off a few enemies before starting the battle. I was pretty disappointed that there was no standard melee attack option when next to a foe, because reloading your weapon counts as an action and everyone's weapon only hold 1 to 3 shots. Specifically, Dux's weapon only has 1 shot, then has to reload every turn, and it could be a bit annoying to waste an action on that, although I understand it's part of the strategic way the game's designed. There is also a Striker Trials mode that allows you to just play preset battles for fun, but when I tried one I got a software error there as well, and then never went back to it. I just wish the overall balancing felt a little more fair for the player, and that there was no need to worry the game was going to crash when playing on the TV. If it had none of those issues, then this would easily be a 17 or 18 out of 20, but as it is right now, gameplay scores 15 out of 20. Controls can be broken down into two sections as well, one for navigating the zone and then the other for battles. When searching the land, you can either walk slowly with your flashlight out, or tap B, turn off the light, and crouch sneak around the world even slower, but undetected. A will pick up scraps and notes when you're within their vicinity, and the analog stick controls the character's movement. You can change this while walking around, but there was nothing distinctively different when exploring. And that's where we get to the nitty-gritty of the game's battle controls, and they are absolutely, in my opinion, on par with Mario and Rabbids. Navigating through battle options is straightforward and intuitive. It's very easy to see where you can move each character per turn. I'd say this is one of the best aspects of the game. Controls score 18 out of 20. In terms of visuals and audio then, this is where things get interesting. Visuals are by far one of the most controversial aspects of this game. When looking at this game, you might be asking yourself, do I need to go and see an optician's or an optometrist depending on where you live? Well, no, you do not need to go and see an eye doctor. Or maybe you are due for a visit, I'm not sure. Regardless, this game is beyond blurry. I'm not a graphics snob by any means, however, ouch. Mutant Year Zero did not port over well to the Nintendo Switch visually. I watched side-by-side comparison videos of the Switch and PS4, and I really didn't think it was that bad until I got my hands on the game and saw it in person. It opens with an absolutely gorgeous intro video that looks like it could have been an animated claymation movie. I seriously thought, man, I'd love to see a movie or a shot-to-shot recreation of The Nightmare Before Christmas looking like this. Then the game started and I was genuinely stunned by what I was seeing while playing. Some say that these graphics are a bit better when docked over handheld, but I didn't see a huge difference. Am I offended by the poor graphics? Not really, it's more of a concerning thought of how and why such an inferior version made it into the Switch. We all know Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, but if Fuzzy Wuzzy were a video game, then it would be Mutant Year Zero's visuals. Chicken Perm, you have outdone yourself there, my friend. Visual score 5 out of 20. Now in terms of audio, I appreciate the voice acting for sure.
Better control machines that want to quarantine you. Whatever that means.
Hey.
I honestly never thought about how uncommon voiceovers were for non-AAA games until I started writing reviews. There's nothing inherently wrong with a game not having voices at all either, just something that you begin to notice. The music and sound effects while scavenging immerse you into the gritty ruined earth. The weapon and battle sound effects were as they should be. Overall, there's nothing too remarkable, but it's decently done in the audio department for the most part. If anything, I'd say the music was a little forgettable, although it does to my ear fit the game's environment perfectly. Audio scores 16 out of 20. At $44.99 or your regional equivalent, unless you live in the UK and get overtaxed, and for what the game currently offers, I feel the price is a touch steep, particularly with all the issues. Mario and Rabbids Base and Gold Edition go on sale fairly often now, and it's just a far better purchase any way you slice it. If you're a lover of this type of game, then it's probably the second best of its kind, only behind the previously mentioned Mario and Rabbids. So it does have that going for it. I would say this is a wait for a sale type game, as long as you're able to deal with the blurriness. $30 is a much more suitable price for this in its current state, or definitely more worthwhile to get on the other game's consoles, as it's a very smooth and fluid experience over there. But having all the DLC makes it a worthwhile package. It's just a real shame about those visuals. Value scores 13 out of 20. Now, as I'm sure you can see from this review, the score isn't really going to reflect just how good the gameplay of the game is, it's going to unfortunately reflect how poor of a port this is. Overall, the game scores 67%, but looking at those gameplay and control scores, it might be a game worth picking up on a sale. Thanks so much to Chicken Perm for writing this, he did an absolutely excellent job. It's really nice to hear how you improve every single time you write, my friend, and we really appreciate it. For all you patrons who support us on the channel, remember we give away a free Nintendo Switch game every single month to the subscriber and the patron most active and engaged with the community. Check out our Discord if you haven't done so already, and for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!